Tell her to use the same link again.
The same link?
Yeah.
Okay.
You found it?
Found it. Ah, that was annoying.
Right. And just as far as the dice are concerned, that app should now just be sort of a permanent app on the left side.
Perfect.
It should appear in like every Google Hangout you've ever opened.
Hello. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Tom, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So the one you tweeted out is the right one, right?
Yeah, that's the right one.
Okay. Let's see if it works. Did you start broadcasting yet?
Yeah, we're broadcasting.
It says off air.
Oh, come on. Okay. Now the link I have is working.
What link you have? Oh. Is it the same hangout we were on?
I'm not even sure anymore. Okay.
There we go.
We all there now?
I don't know if people are here, but I can see you slightly delayed. But I can see you.
Wait. I'm the only person in this. We're using different links somehow.
How
do
did
I share this?
I don't know.
This is pissing me off.
Remember, we're on air now.
I know.
Or you are, at least.
Can you DM Tom and say I'm setting a new link?
You didn't attach a link.
Arg.
Grr. Arg.
Hi.
Okay, mute your mic.
I got it.
Did it work this time?
Oh, thank God it worked this time.
Yay!
It worked?
Yes.
Worked. It says we're live. Oh
Nothing.
boy.
And there was much rejoicing.
Yay.
And then they ate the minstrels.
Although there's lag, it's funny.
Hi, Brian.
Hello.
I don't think there's lag. I just think it's like on a delay. So like,
Think there's a little delay with the camera. There's no
Yeah,
Yeah,
delay.
a
It
little
doesn't
camera
seem-
delay, but
I'm gonna
otherwise we're
test.
okay.
We're all fine here. How are you?
Okay, now I think we can go.
Sweet. All right. Oops. Q&A. Does that mean people could ask us questions?
That does mean people can ask us questions.
there's like a
Nah.
12-second delay. I tested.
Well, when I click on it, it says this feature is disabled. So unless it's not disabled for you, Brian, then people can't ask us questions.
This feature is disabled. What?
Which is fine, because that just means we don't have to answer like
Yeah, I don't want people to ask us questions.
weird. Well, people can ask us questions. We probably won't be able to answer them like as we're playing.
No.
But anyone who's listening and wants to ask us questions, just like tweet at Tashi Station or at one of us individually, and we will we'll address it at some point.
We'll make that work somehow.
It'll all work out.
Are we recording it?
Yes.
We're recording.
Yay.
Yay!
I can actually start the actual recording
Yeah,
now.
that's what I mean. Like, are we actually recording?
Yeah, we're actually recording.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Do me a favor and just launch Chrome on this thing real quick. I mean, we haven't even hashed out intros, so I'll just wing something here. Your ringtone is
Yep,
excellent.
that's my phone.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Why?
Why am I tired?
Because it's late at night?
Yes.
Not even that late.
I'm old, though.
As long as I show up at work tomorrow, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter what you do.
Hey, there are plenty of days when it's like, hey, I'm here, my clothes are in the right parts of my body. What more do you want?
I agree.
Okay, let me tweet out this link one more time, and we'll try that again.
I'm going to close.
The intro should just all of us be humming the Star Wars theme, so that we don't have to worry about like paying royalties or infringing upon like any copyright uses.
Well, we have our intro. We
Yeah.
don't need an intro. You
I
made
know.
it, Brian.
I know you have a good intro.
It's awesome. I was the one who came up with the music idea.
You did.
Just saying.
Okay, I think we're good to go now.
Yay. Hooray!
So I guess I should introduce us or something.
Yeah, probably.
My power cable.
You give all our fun disclaimers.
Why did everything just go quiet?
I don't know.
We can still hear you.
Oh, there we go. We're back. We're all good here.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Too many
Okay, as soon as
windows
Nancy gets her power cable back, we will get started.
Her power converter?
Power converters.
Okay, that should actually be up there. This should be down here.
Okay. Yeah, I lost the cable.
That should be.
That cable's long enough. You can leave that over there.
Wait, don't you need it?
Oh, right.
Damn it.
Making a mess.
I know I'm making a mess.
Episode 2 is going to go a lot smoother than this.
Yes, but will we get attacked by a giant clone army at the end?
No, that's a question I can't answer.
If I told you that, there wouldn't be any reason to play this little game.
If you told us you'd have to kill us, something like that.
What's a
Oh,
question?
you guys will take care of that yourself.
What's a question I get?
I am extremely good at spectacular ways of getting killed at games.
Hi. I'm back. Lose Tom?
Nope, we're all here. We're all fine now. How are you?
Boring conversation, anyway.
Look, we're gonna have company. One of my favorite pictures on the internet.
Can you actually see how many people are watching us?
We have 2 viewers at the bottom, I'm told.
Oh man, 2. Oh dear. Hi, 2 people.
Oh, I shouldn't yawn.
It's not boring yet. Jeez.
I got a feeling when all is said and done, I'm just going to be ripping the YouTube video that this records and just grabbing the audio from there.
What?
Nothing.
Were you talking? Hey.
Well, I'm ready to roll when you guys are.
All right.
Ha ha,
I'm
that was a pun.
I see what you
Experienced DM. I know how to pun.
Okay. Well, I'll bring us in. Welcome to the first gameplay episode of Dice and Droids, and someday I'm going to remember we have 2 ofs there when I'm doing these introductions. All right, so yeah, we won't waste too much time. You all listen to our introduction episodes where we introduce the characters, and we'll go around the horn and say who all is here today. Starting with myself, I'm Brian, host of Tashi Station Radio, and the moron who came with this podcast idea.
I'm Nancy, the other host of Tashi Station Radio.
I am Rocky. I am a writer for 1138 and a general nerd, and I got myself into this.
And I am Tom, the editorial assistant at Delray Books, aka Star Wars Books, and I am the GM/DM, general manager, dungeon master, whatever you prefer, of this little game. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's his goal to make us suffer.
Yay.
Yay, suffering!
Yay! All right. So, I think to get started, what I will do in just a second is I will reread, because this is Star Wars after all, I will reread the opening crawl to our first episode to set the stage, and then we will jump in. Before we do that, can Brian, Nancy, Rocky, can you just remind me each just the names of your characters?
I am playing Lane Zorvin.
I am Dia Baron.
Kiara Lex.
Dia. Okay, great, fantastic. So, all right, we are going to start then. The campaign that we are starting is called The End of All Things, and again, because this is Star Wars, we do things episodically, and this is Episode 1, Darkness on the Edge of Town. And here's the crawl. We really need some. We need to figure out, like, for future episodes, we got to figure out some sort of like John Williams fake theme thing to use, even if it's just everyone humming it in the background. Anyway.
But if it claim it fair use, we're good.
We get a kazoo and play it that way.
So here we go. The galactic civil war endures as Imperial and Rebel forces engage each other in conflicts great and small across the galaxy. Pockets of peace are scarce. Conflict brings opportunity, and crime cartels and gangs operating at the edge of the Empire struggle for control, playing both sides of the war and filling power vacuums where they can. Far into the Outer Rim, the lone desert planet of Tatooine sits on the brink of chaos after the death of Jabba the Hutt. Eager to display strength, the Hutts offer intel on valuable technology that could sway the balance of power in the war. Dun dun dun. Cool. So, our story opens with the three of you, Lane, Dia, and Kiara, on board a Mon-Cal class Rebel cruiser floating in space, as it were. The three of you have been called up to the command deck. None of you are quite sure why you're being called there. None of you are quite sure what the orders are. You know that you're being called up to be tasked for some sort of mission. So you know you're not like in trouble. Kiara, you know that you're not in trouble for like pilfering some extra equipment around the ship to make like trinkets and doodads with. Lane, you know that you're not in trouble for trying to secretly get in some extra X-Wing practice, even though you are not cleared for X-Wing practice. And Dia, you hope that you are not in trouble for your droid scanning through the sort of Rebel info archives and downloading material on potential future jobs.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
So, you guys arrive on board the command deck, the three of you, and Kiara, tell me, do you know Lane or Dia?
I've seen them around a few times before.
Okay.
They look kind of familiar.
All right. And Dia, what is your relationship to Lane and to Lane?
I have worked with him before.
Okay. And Lane, what do you surmise about Dia and Kiara, given your limited interaction with Kiara and your semi-limited interaction with Dia?
Well, I know that if I ever need a case of Corellian brandy on the lowdown, I can trust Kiara to get it for me. And if I ever need information on where to get Corellian brandy, I can go to Dia to get it.
Good way of putting it.
Your priorities.
I have my priorities.
Clearly, the most important of priorities. Okay. You arrive on the command deck, and as command decks of most ships, it is sort of awash in activity. There are people scurrying back and forth, some of them carrying data pads, other ones just rushing from station to station, delivering intel reports, reports on troop movement. Lane, you kind of notice immediately, having a bit more experience within the sort of hierarchy and just goings-on of the Rebel Alliance, that this actually seems like a bit more activity than usual. People seem to be moving just a little bit quicker. Everything seems to be changing hands at a speed that's a little bit more rapid than it would be, given the fact that the ship is kind of just floating in space, and you're not really like in any immediate danger, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So you take note of that. Standing at the bridge, you see just a couple of Rebel officers, and you see one gentleman clad actually in an X-Wing pilot outfit. And Dia, you immediately recognize him as one of your one of the people that you've always wanted to meet, but never have. It is Wedge Antilles of the fabled Rogue Squad. And while you stand there sort of semi-slack-jawed for a moment, he turns and beckons the three of you forward and points towards one of the center consoles where there's just sort of a map of the galaxy sort of idling there.
I'm fangirling now.
I'm wondering how I got noticed by someone that important. I totally did something wrong. There's no way that I didn't.
All right, what do you do?
Do whatever the hell Wedge Angeles tells me to do.
Oh, yes.
I snap a salute, trying to make a good impression so I can finally get cleared for the active roster.
Slouch and hide back in a corner, trying to be a little inconspicuous.
Okay. Wedge kind of gives Lane a bit of an odd look, given the fact that sort of saluting, well done in the Rebel Alliance, particularly among the rebels of Rogue Squadron, it's a bit more of a casual atmosphere. So he kind of gives a chuckle and gives you a half salute back, and he tells you that you can sort of be at ease. You're not in any trouble.
And I think to myself, this is the happiest day of my life.
He beckons you all forward a little bit, and he sort of approaches the table and says that while none of you have worked together before, the three of you have been chosen because there is a rare opportunity for the rebellion, and the rebellion is a little stretched on resources at the moment, but they can't miss it. There's an opportunity to get an advantage over the Empire. One that, again, is rare given circumstances in the galaxy. And he is asking you to undertake a mission for him in Rogue Squadron's stead, since Rogue Squadron is being tasked elsewhere. And at the moment, he provides you no other information or details. He's just it's kind of odd. He's giving you this weird, like, almost there's kind of like a bit of a patriotic sense to the speech. He's sort of asking you to do your duty without actually even telling you what the duty is.
I'm in.
Yeah.
All right, where am I going and when are we leaving?
Wow, he says. He seems a little taken aback that you guys would all just suddenly jump in to taking on a mission without even hearing what it was.
The hell out of peeling tubers, so you know what? I'm on board.
I want to know what it is, because I still need some, credits.
Well, he
I'm
asks
not
you...
in trouble, so I'm all in.
Wedge again chuckles. If anything, he can respect the desire for you guys to jump right into danger, even not knowing what the danger might be. It's a particular trait that he holds near and dear to his heart. So, Dia, given that you have raised the question, he turns and asks you, when was the last time you were on Tatooine?
Never.
Never.
Never had a reason to go there.
At you saying the words "never," he turns to one of the rebel officers who looks down at a data pad that he's holding, and the officer just kind of gives him a little shrug.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't press the issue.
So, do I think Dia's lying?
Would you like to perceive or try to sort of deduce if you think she's lying?
You know what? I'll do a perception check there and see if I think she's lying.
Well, we can do that. So, what we're going to have you do, Brian, and this is awesome. I'm coming out of the characters for a moment, since you're making the very first roll in the history of Dice Droids, is we are going to have you make my sheet here. Okay, we're going to have you make a skill roll. And what skill do you think would be best suited to the task here? And
I have
any
to
of the skills that your character has a rank in is one that you could feasibly use.
Let's see.
Just like to make an out-of-character observation
Of
that
course.
the first role is my husband trying to determine if I'm lying.
Yeah. Not only that, but determine if you're lying, because Wedge Antilles has given him reason to suspect that you might be.
He's gonna throw me out of bed because we're Wedge.
Oh, the only thing I've got that fits the bill is maybe cool.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, you know what? You've actually got perception as well. So what I'm going to have you do
Oh, I missed that one. Yeah, perception.
is don't actually you do the dice roll yet, but at least load up a dice pool that consists of. I'm going to say this is going to be probably an average difficulty check. You know Dia enough. You've worked around with it, but you don't really know her that well. So I'm going to say add 2 purple dice to the dice pool.
Okay.
In addition, I'm going to have you add for your skills, because you have a little bit of perception here, but not great, is we're going to have you add... add 2 green dice.
Got it.
And actually, you know what? We're going to have you swap one of those green dice. Actually, put 1 green die and 1 yellow die. That's actually what your dice pool. So you're going to get a slight bonus to this opportunity. Again, also because you're not really under duress, and the fact that the officer made this weird shrugging motion leads you to believe that while someone may not be lying, that there seems to be some sort of information not being shared here.
Got it.
So whenever you have that dice pool set, go ahead and press the button. And for those of you who are listening, we are using an integrated app that connects to Google Hangouts. So when Brian rolls, as he has right now, we can all see the dice roll, and Google Hangouts automatically calculates a result for us. And the result is 1 success, which means that you have succeeded in this dice roll. So congratulations, you're off to a rousing start.
Downhill from here.
You don't think she's lying, but whatever is on that data pad suggests to the rebel officer that she has been to Tatooine before. So your immediate deduction is that she has done a job or worked something that affected Tatooine at some point, even if she may not have actually been there, and that whatever information the rebel has might not be sort of complete enough. But the rebel and Wedge seem to have drawn the conclusion that she's been there.
Got it.
Okay. Cool. So back to Wedge. He says, well, no doubt that you've heard by now of the death of Jabba the Hutt, and while the circumstances regarding his death are not relevant to this discussion, it seems that the Hutt clan is not in any swift hurry to disembark from the galaxy as a whole. So they've called a meeting that, curiously enough, the Rebel Alliance has been invited to. Would you like to know what kind of meeting it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all just awestruck and just waiting for Wedge to talk to us more.
Just all staying there. I mean, this just must happen to Wedge everywhere he goes. Just people slack-jawed staring.
It's too awesome.
He's like, I'm trying to conduct
Yeah,
business here.
probably.
Please stop staring. Anyway,
You're so dreamy.
just imagine if it was Poe. Anywho.
I can.
Yes.
We would not be getting
No, we
anything
wouldn't.
done
We,
then.
we'd have
Oh,
swapped
we'd be-
over to Google image search for Poe Dameron, and that would be the end of the...
Be getting things done.
So what else can you tell us, Captain?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have quite as much information as we'd like to, and we haven't been able to verify the veracity of all of it. But the opportunity is too pristine to pass up, and so we're going to have to go with what we have. It seems that the Hutts want to assure their compatriots in the criminal underworld and the galaxy at large that the death of Jabba has done little to deter and reduce their overall strength. So as a sign of good faith, and yes, Hutts and signs of good faith, I get the joke already. As a sign of good faith, they are conducting an auction of some sort for some piece of technology that they say has near unlimited potential and and we need to investigate what it is. They won't tell us. They have only instructed that we send an emissary group. The party can be no larger than 5 people, which seems like a strange and arbitrary number. And that once at the designated area of meeting, that you will be given further instructions and have an opportunity to learn more about what is for sale. The only other information that we've been given is that this is a neutral transaction and that violence and will not be tolerated. Kiara.
Mm-hmm.
You have, and your other 2 compatriots here probably don't know this about you. You have quite the connections in the galactic underworld, and quite the knowledge of underworld goings on.
Yeah.
Would you like to make a check to see if you can glean any more information based on the sort of general, general things you've been hearing around the galaxy?
Sure.
Okay.
What am I looking to roll?
Let's see. Well, you are a streetwise individual, and you have knowledge of the underworld, and it is a career skill for you. So you get to add 2 green dice and a yellow die to the pool, and you are going to be opposed by 2 purple dice. This is also just more or less an average difficulty stat thing.
All right. 2 green, 1 yellow.
And whenever you're ready, you can press the button. Wow. 2 successes and 3 advantages.
Wow.
Okay.
Well then.
So again, to step out of the game for just half a second here. So successes are obviously what you need to actually pass the roll in general and succeed in whatever you're trying to do. Advantages they count as successes, but they don't count as success. They are a separate thing. They mean there's like an additional positive side effect. So what that means here is you blurt out the following. And let's see if I can do this. Rocky, please take a look at the chat window.
All right.
I am not seeing anything in the chat window.
Neither am I.
Oh, there it is.
Ooh. All right then. They're selling stolen speeder tech. Brand new, never before seen.
That's intriguing.
Kind of interesting.
Speeder tech. What do we need speeder tech for?
Getting around. Sometimes it's useful if there's someone chasing you to not be there when they get there.
I want to know what kind of speeder tech.
Wedge looks at Kiara and gives her a very sort of takes a moment to sort of give her a very deep nod and commend her on her her information gathering, but he doesn't go as far as to ask how she actually knows that. You guys kind of get the sense that he is attempting to keep himself like one step removed from whatever is about to happen with all of you. And he says, I have no idea what type of speeder tech they might be offering. But if it's a technological advantage that we can gain over the Empire, like I said before, we cannot pass this opportunity. And certainly, we cannot allow whatever this is to fall into the hands of the Empire.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to know before we ship out?
Only this. You have two main objectives here. One is to acquire the tech. We can offer a line of 30,000 credits as payment. If you feel that there is an opportunity to gain the tech and it requires you to make additional promises, monetary or otherwise, you have clearance by order of Admiral Akbar to make such promises. However, we have to ask you to be sort of judicious and prudent in your decision making. The rebellion is not exactly flush with credits. And we don't need another situation like with what happened with Captain Solo. So please spare us if you can.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that should the Imperials be there, we would like you to gather as much information you can on them, their interest, and what, if anything, they would do with the technology.
We'll keep that in mind.
Okay. He informs you that there is a ship waiting that you guys can take. It is in Docking Bay 4. And that you are free to use that ship to travel to Tatooine. That when you board the ship, they will forward along the information that the Hutts have given, including the exact destination, the exact meeting area, as well as all the relevant data you're going to have to bring with you to sort of verify that you're the rebellion's emissaries for this mission. He says that time is of the essence, that the rest of the fleet will be jumping soon to Sullust, and that you should make all haste to Tatooine if you can.
Well, I'm kind of glad I've gotten in the habit of traveling light. See you in the docking bay.
All right, and with that, Kiara leaves without another word. And Wedge sort of turns away. He's not really waiting for you to say goodbye or anything. He's obviously got plenty of other things to do. He goes back to speaking with the other rebel officers and is back to sort of pointing at data pads, and they seem to be discussing something, not related to this.
I feel like I've made a big enough fool of myself, so I quietly slink out and head towards the docking bay.
Okay. Dia, I presume that you do the same? You don't have to. If there's something else you'd like to do.
I'm kind of curious as to what's on that data pad, but I decide not to press the issue right now.
Okay. So, would any of you like to do anything else while you're on the ship before you head towards the ship that you're going to be taking to Tatooine?
Is
Anything
there an
else you'd like?
armory I can visit before?
There is. There's a limited armory on the ship. It is mostly for basic maintenance, weapon maintenance. They can give you additional ammo packs, blaster packs. They can fix or resharpen a vibro blade or anything like that. They have some basic equipment, but you're not on a planet, and this is not like a market, so you can't really. If you're looking to buy an upgraded blaster, you're probably not going to be able to find one. But yeah, there is an armory you can visit. Is there anything you'd like to find there, or you're searching for in particular?
Given that they have me mostly on janitorial duty right now, they have me sidearm, so I'd like to go get at least something that I can defend myself with.
Okay. Well, currently you have just a holdout blaster.
Would I be able to get anything other than that blaster?
Sure. So you head over to the armory, and you're given a choice. They have a small ionization blaster, a small disruptor pistol, and just a sort of standard issue blaster pistol. They're not much. They are quite honestly, they're just sort of some reclaimed items from one of the last skirmishes that they were just brought on board the ship, and they're just extra material at the moment.
The ionization blaster, would that be good against electronics and droids and things like that?
The ionization blaster, yes. It has a disorientating effect, and when used against droids, there's a possibility that it can cause them to sort of seize up and be sort of momentarily incapacitated.
I will grab that.
Okay, so please make note that you've taken an ionization blaster.
I'll have to open up a notepad here.
Awesome. Okay. Would Dia or Kiara, would either of you like to do anything else, visit anything else,
I would
look for anything else before we disembark?
like to take my droid with us.
Okay. Your droid will join you on the ship. What type of droid is he?
It is an R4 astromech droid.
Does the astromech droid have a name or other designation?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I have to think of one. Does anyone have a cool name for an astromech? Out of roll. I should have thought of this beforehand.
Skippy.
Yes.
Skippy the.
No, you can't use Skippy.
He's canon.
In your haze, you can't.
I don't know. What are good droid names?
I don't know. I mean, really, whatever designation sort of tickles your fancy. You know what? We can come back to that later. Kiara, is there anything you want to do?
Well, we have a decent amount of supplies. Not really. I think I'm pretty well set.
Okay, awesome. Well, you guys then decide to head down to your ship, which I have a picture of right here, and I will pull it up. It is... Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I wonder if we might have actually lost Brian and Nancy for a moment here.
Hmm.
Well, while we wait to see if we have in fact lost Brian and Nancy, and it does seem that we have, I'm just going to explain, because it might be a little weird to anyone listening to this, why it seems to be that I am speaking in the third person for the most part when I am talking as a character. One of the things I've found is that sometimes it's a little easier to embody a character or just to kind of do the role playing if instead of saying I, if you're pretending to be, say, like Wedge Antilles, instead of being like, instead of actually pretending to be him, you just speak about him as if you are reading his character from a book and thus reading in the third person. I find that a little bit easier. I find that new players sometimes, if they're having a little shyness or a little trouble grasping role playing, can do better just referring to their character in the third person rather than having to sort of commit to embodying it. So you'll hear me do both of those, and you guys are obviously free to do whichever one that you prefer. I think Brian's back.
I think so.
Or maybe he's not. Okay.
Technical difficulties, please stand by.
Yeah. And while we have technical difficulties, if anyone has a question about RPGs, Star Wars RPGs, or some other combination thereof, and wants to send it to us via Twitter, you can hit us up. You can tweet it to Tasha Station. You can tweet it at Lady Darth Cadis, which is Rocky, or you can tweet it to me, Darth Internus, and we'll make up an answer that sounds cool.
Hey, at least you know my actual question answering ability.
Oh, 1138. The more I listen to Tashi Station's RPG thing, the more, first of all, RPG thing is probably the most accurate description of whatever.
Yes.
The more certain I am that people would hate me in an RPG context. First of all, that's probably not true. I don't know if 1138 is referring to either his preferred style of playing games, the types of character he would want to play or whatever, but odds are probably not. Unless he was just going to be like super pedantic. I think that's the only context that people would hate. Like super pedantic characters kind of get annoying. But anyway, we're just hanging out here until we figure out what may or may not be happening with. Oh, their internet has gone down. Okay, so it looks like they're being boarded by Conj Club or something like that. So
It looks
have
like
them
grabbing
back.
that ion cannon thingy.
Yeah, you know what? The
Backfired.
ion blaster probably went off because Brian did not, properly secure it, and he hit the internet and killed it.
Yep.
So goodbye to internet. Goodbye to Brian's and Nancy. Yeah.
That would actually be a good explanation for some of the things that have happened to my internet.
Ionization blaster.
Yep.
I think that's better. I think that's better than being like, oh, the wind knocked it out or rain or whatever. Just be like ionization blaster.
Or entertaining at the very least.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in entertaining excuses. This is perhaps why I tend to play somewhat chaotic, stupid characters.
Well, you picked one that's not chaotic and stupid.
Yet.
It's super entertaining right now.
Okay.
So Rocky, you haven't have you played you haven't played the Star Wars RPGs before?
No,
You've
I
played
haven't.
others. We talked about you've played World of Darkness.
Oh, yes.
Have you played Dungeons and Dragons?
A little bit. I've also played a lot of Pathfinder, more so than Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
That was annoying. Our DNS crashed out. We're back.
Yay! Don't worry. Rocky and I have been filling the time beautifully.
Excellent.
We also discussed, and only the other people who are listening heard this, we also discussed all the secret plans for Lane and Dia that involve terrible things happening to them at every turn.
Oh, excellent.
I thought you were going to say secret plans for Star Wars books.
Okay, so where we left off in the recording is that the droid's name is Sparky.
Sparky. Okay. We can run with that. We can run with Sparky. Droid is Sparky.
Okay. I'll give you a 3, 2, 1, and then I'll start recording again.
Oh, you didn't record any of what Rocky and I were saying?
No. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
All right. So the droid's name is officially Sparky.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So Sparky the Astromech is going to be joining you. Lane, you went about the armory, grabbed yourself an ionization blaster that you then promptly used to knock out the internet in your own house for 5 minutes. And Kiara, are you doing anything, stopping anywhere, prepping yourself in any other way?
Well, I probably stopped by the dining hall there, grab some calf.
Okay, great. Yes, you're going to need it. So then you guys all meet in the docking bay. New blaster, astromech, lots of calf, and you find that there is a ship waiting for you. And the ship that is waiting for you is a Lorner E9 Explorer, which has been given the designation. And for Brian, Nancy, and Rocky, you guys should now have. I put a link to what the ship looks like in the chat, though I think you already have it.
That right now.
You see that it has been given the designation the Grinning Maw.
Ew.
Yes. This is just sort of a basic Republic transport ship. It does have some weaponry, though it looks like that it is weaponry. It has 2 turrets, but the turrets look more as defensive turrets rather than sort of offensively an offensively capable ship. This is not exactly the type of ship that you would take into like a dogfight or even into a military operation. So that's the sort of type of ship it has. It's a 2-level ship, and it's a 2-level ship. There's plenty of room for people. There's plenty of room for supplies. It's often used for transport and storage. So you guys head on board.
Dibs on the captain's bunk.
Oh,
He called it.
damn it.
He
I
called
fly.
it.
I get to fly.
Damn it.
I'll hide in a corner somewhere.
Do you get the feeling that our associate here is a little antisocial?
I do.
Why do you ever think that?
As long as she can do the job.
So I want to take a look around the ship real quick and see if there's anything I should be worried about. Can I make a perception check and see if there's because this freighter kind of looks old and might implode in the vacuum of space. Can I make a perception check to see if there's anything that we need to fix before we go?
Yes, though I wonder, why do you think Wedge Antilles is giving you a ship that's going to blow up?
It's the rebellion. Half of our stuff is held together with duct tape and optimism.
Fair. Duct tape and optimism, yes. So, what I'm going to ask you guys to do, since a couple of you seem like you're sort of interesting, you're sort of interested in this stuff.
I hope I'm interesting too.
Yeah, that too. You might be interesting. That remains to be seen. You guys are going to make sort of like a combined skill check. So rather than just one of you making the skill check, you're going to combine your skills together, which obviously gives you a better chance of succeeding.
Like Wonder Twins power.
Yes, it's an assisted skill check. Lane, you're going to be the primary on this, so why don't you tell me which skill or skills do you think would be best suited to this particular... You said perception, but let me know if there's any other skills you think would be useful here for you.
What else do I have here?
Question about in the skill list.
Yeah, fire away.
When it has an X under career, what does that mean?
When it has an X next to it?
Yeah,
that means that it is a career skill for you. It just means that you're particularly proficient at that.
Okay.
And from a character making standpoint, it means like the skills that you got at the beginning of the game.
And if it has a number under the rank, that's like what your level is.
Yes. So if it's 0, you have no rank in it.
Okay.
Actually, I've got mechanics, so I think I should use mechanics on this.
You've got mechanics. Okay, awesome. Kiara, Rocky, what skill do you want to use to, what's it called? To, assist him?
Well, I'm just taking a quick look, see if there's anything...
We're all getting familiar with our character sheets today.
Yeah.
Yes. And honestly, this is kind of the best way to do it.
I agree.
Just kind of jump in with it and let it go.
No, I agree entirely. Now, am I looking for something that has a 1 next to it under rank, something like that?
Yeah, you want something that you have a rank in. Essentially, that's a skill that you actually have.
Instead of something I'm totally just making up on the spot.
Yeah.
I have X's on some things, but there's a 0 next to it.
That means you have it, you just haven't sort of buffed it up.
Okay. Got it.
Trying to think of what I might have that might be useful.
Let's see.
All right. So, Brian, using your mechanics skill, I want you to add a green and a yellow die to the dice pool.
Got it.
And Rocky, let's see.
I would think maybe perception.
Cool. So you're going to use perception.
Pink.
And we're going to add then an extra green die to the die pool.
So
And
1 green.
Then Brian, you're going to add, let's say, 1 purple die. This is an easy check because this is a it's a rebel ship. You're on a rebel ship. If you see something that's wrong, odds are you can go get someone to look at it quickly. So ascertaining whether or not there's anything wrong with the ship should be pretty easy. So
Yeah.
just one purple die and then roll away.
Okay, so that's 2 green, 1 yellow, 1 purple.
Yes.
Okay.
And 1 green from me.
So you have succeeded, but you also got a threat.
Uh-oh.
Who the heck's
And
hiding
a
on this
threat
ship?
is exactly the same as an advantage, except it's the opposite.
Well, then.
So instead of a positive side effect, we have a negative side effect. So you guys look around the ship, you look high and low. Ship looks fine. It's got some scarring. It's seen action. It's definitely not a new ship by any means. But Kiara, you just get the sense, and you can't find anything to support it, you just get the sense that you think there's something wrong with the turrets. You can't figure it out. You turned them on. They move. There's no problem with the oscillation. Like, the targeting looks fine. You haven't actually fired them because you're on another ship, but all the other mechanisms, all the wiring, everything suggests that these 2 turrets work fine. But you just there's just a feeling you have that they don't.
So, Kiara, do you want me to take a look at him? I'm pretty decent with mechanics. I might be able to find something there.
Yeah, take a look.
Okay, so I'm going to go check out the turrets.
Okay. So I will actually build the check for you. You're going to use your mechanics skill again, I presume.
Yes.
Okay. So mechanics is going to be one of these, and I am actually going to be adding a challenge die to this because you don't know what you're looking for.
Oh, crap.
I'm just getting this feeling there's something not right. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe I'm paranoid. Maybe I've been on a few too many broken ships, but something's funny there.
Now, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to sit at this turret, and it's going to blow up in my face later.
So you find 2 successes. You don't find anything wrong with the guns.
I'm wondering
know.
why Kiara's so suspicious.
So, I'm looking over at Kiara and now thinking to myself, you're crazy.
That's the 3rd time I've heard that this week.
Yeah, I'm also curious as to why Kiara is very suspicious. I'm suspicious of why she's suspicious.
I mean, how long have you guys been with Rebellion? You know how things are. We use a lot of older equipment. It breaks a lot. I don't know, maybe I just kind of assume it's going to break until I know otherwise. Hope I'm wrong.
Well, we don't really know you, so we don't know how long he's been in the Rebellion.
So I back away from the turret, can't find a thing wrong. And I'm looking over to Kiara, and I ask her, okay, it looks great. Why do you have a problem with the turrets?
Oh, okay, fine. Last ship I had to take on a mission, the turrets kept breaking. They kept breaking at all the wrong times. They kept really breaking at all the wrong times. I mean, we landed at the end of the mission, and by landed I mean, the ship made it to the ground. Wasn't still all in one piece, but it made it.
So you're paranoid.
Yes!
But I'm going to fly this thing, and I know what I'm doing, so we'll be fine.
Hope so.
Okay, we can't find anything wrong. Dia, let's go.
Let's go. Let's get out of here.
All right, so you guys decide there's nothing wrong with the guns. And you're all hanging out on the ship, and you all head up to the bridge. Look, there might not be anything wrong with the guns. Why should there be anything wrong with the guns? Note to all would-be DMs out there, at every moment, at every single moment, you absolutely must cultivate your player's own paranoia.
Mission accomplished.
back to the game. You guys head up to the bridge, and you see that there's a data stream that has been initiated from it's from the Rebel cruiser, and Dia, you initiate the button to sort of transfer the data, and immediately two things appear sort of on one of the screens.
Mm-hmm.
First, looks like it's a set of credentials. There are a couple of codes on it you don't recognize. You assume that these are codes that they were given by the Hutts, and that this is sort of what you have to provide as your sort of proof that you're the rebel emissaries. The other is a short document that seems to outline the rest of the meeting in the exchange. So it gives you some coordinates on Tatooine that you're supposed to land at, and the name of a particular settlement. And the name of that settlement is... Out of game, anyone want to guess?
Mos Eisley.
Wrong.
Mos Espa?
Danar's Claim.
Oh!
It says that you will be meeting at a sort of cantina at Danar's Claim. It informs you where you're to land, that there is that you can actually land at Mos Eisley, and that you will take hover transport directly to Danar's Claim. And that when you arrive, you're supposed to head over to the cantina, present your credentials. It also gives you sort of a time and date by which you need to be there by. Don't be late, it says. And it doesn't really have any other information than that.
Okay.
Would anyone like to? It also does have a note at the bottom that violence will not be tolerated under any circumstances.
So, Dia, you're in the captain's seat.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do now?
Well, first I'm gonna check out the coordinates, make sure they all parse out, and then leave the alliance.
I mean,
Go on our mission.
I've seen some of the hyperspace coordinates are brilliant techs have come up with. I don't want to run into like an interdictor or anything. Should we do an astrogations check here to make sure that the route looks good?
Yeah, let me check the coordinates. I'll input the coordinates and check them out.
Right. I'm also going to. You guys can do the coordinate check. I'm also going to give you guys 2 minutes to sort of. You guys can sort of talk amongst your characters as to what your approach is going to be to this meeting, given your very limited information about where you're going and what you're doing. So
See, I'm just going to say for the
back in
record,
like 2 minutes, so you guys can just sort of talk amongst yourselves.
I'm just going to say for the record, I don't like the Hutts. I'm from Narshada. We don't have very good relationships with Hutts.
Well, you should probably play backup for this mission then.
Hey, Lane Zorfin does not play backup.
Well, then don't mess it up. Wedge and Chiles will be disappointed if you mess it up. Now,
Look, if you get in trouble with the Hutts, I really don't think the Rebellion's going to have the ability to dig you out.
yeah,
Seriously, keep your head down.
they already rescued one person from the Hutts recently, so they're definitely not going to come after you. If they didn't
So-
want to come after Solo,
So what do we do?
well, I think we need to stick to their mandate, no violence.
We're going to trust a Hutt mandate.
Well, we should appear as if we will be nonviolent, but we should be ready should the Imperials arrive or anyone else of unscrupulous means.
So
Look, if there's anyone who's not unscrupulous at this meeting, I'll be surprised.
It's true. Meaning we fly casual.
So we follow their rules and follow their instructions to the T.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've got a feeling, Kiara, that you've got some knowledge of the underworld. I've also got a little knowledge of the underworld, so I think we might be able to parse out some stuff once we get there and see who's actually at this meeting.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll run into someone we know, for better or worse.
So, we'll have to keep our eyes open.
Meanwhile, while they're talking, I'm just playing with the flight yoke.
Away from the pilot seat, I'm flying.
Fine. So we're gonna play it cool.
Just play it cool. We don't want to mess this up.
Stay out of trouble.
Wedge Antilles is counting on you.
We don't want the Empire to get this tech. Nor do we want any other rival groups to get it. We don't know who's out there now.
This is valuable. This is stuff criminals are going to want. The Empire is going to be interested, and you know they have eyes and ears everywhere.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we fly casual.
Fly casual.
That's our plan.
And if all hell breaks loose, then...
Blast our way out.
Yep. Then all bets are off.
I love this plan. Let's do it.
All right. Sounds good. So you guys, you check the coordinates. Everything seems fine. Everything checks out fine. You don't even have to make a roll because you have all the equipment in front of you and the astrogation and everything. You're able to just do a double check, and everything looks totally fine. You guys signal to the larger cruiser. You get yourselves cleared, and you guys take off. Yeah, you are at the controls.
Yeah, I am.
Lane, you are sitting co-pilot.
Sulking.
And Kiara, you are just sort of, just for the moment, while you're getting ready to make the jump to hyperspace, make the jump to light speed, you are just sort of checking over the astrogation charts one more time. And off your ship goes into light speed, headed for Tatooine. And as we continue, Rocky, I need you to check your DMs on Twitter. I'm sending you something that only your character knows.
Ah!
Well, unfortunately, the Hangout, the messaging system in the Hangout's a little wonky, so I'm just doing this way.
Yeah. So,
you guys make it to Tatooine without any trouble. You get no messages. You get no. You don't, run into anything. Again, all the sort of coordinates and everything that they give you for the astrogation charts seem fine. Sorry about that. Just writing this little note here. You get to Tatooine. You land at the Mos Eisley spaceport. And when you are asked by one of the dock, the people managing the spaceport, which seems a little odd to you since you've always thought and heard that Tatooine was a relatively laissez-faire, particularly Mos Eisley, laissez-faire spaceport regarding the comings and goings of people. But there actually seems now that there is sort of a minor, not Imperial garrison, but sort of minor garrison that seems to actually be, at the very least, sort of clearing and scheduling people for docking and docking slips and things like that. So when you're asked what you're doing here, what do you say?
Why do you care?
They respond that they are the authority here at Mos Eisley, that they run the spaceport, and that if you don't want to be shot out of the sky, that you'll explain what the heck you're doing here and why you want one of their spaceport slips.
We're hauling foodstuffs for Cholman's.
Is that what you actually say?
Yeah, we're going with that.
Okay, then before Dia or Kiara, either of you can come up with even something better, Lane just blurts out over the comm that you guys are hauling foodstuff for
And
Cholman's.
I'm going to smack him and tell him that lying does not equal flying casual.
Well, he has already lied and said it, so Brian, we're going to have you roll to attempt to lie.
Roll the lie? Okay.
You have no ranks in deception. You are not trained in deception.
Yep, I'm trained in cool.
But you are trained in cool, so you can actually use that. You can add 2 yellow dice to the dice pool.
Excellent.
Dia, because you yelled out, "Don't lie," you're not sure if the comm was still open when you said that.
Aw, damn it.
Yeah, I had everything under control.
Yes. So I'm going to need you to add a setback die to the dice pool, which is one of the 6-sided black dice.
Okay.
And in addition, I need you to add 2 purple dice. 3 purple dice.
3 purple dice?
Yes. Since the individual, and this is slightly out of character for a second, this is part of the systems in this game allows for there to be more or less opposed checks, meaning that, your skills don't just matter. The skills of the people you are using your skills against also may matter. So if this person is at all trained to detect coercion or at all perceptive, that they sort of make the check more difficult because they are being perceptive at the same time you are being deceptive.
Okay. So do I roll myself?
Either of you can press the button, whichever one of you is.
Okay, so that's 2 yellow, 1 black, and 3 purple.
Yes.
And here goes nothing.
This is unlikely to go well. Failure and a threat.
Well then.
As soon as you say that you're hauling food for Chalmans, and Dia smacks you, you hear a pause, and then this person that you're speaking to on the comms says, maybe next time you should make sure that the comms are closed. You will land at docking bay 6. You will not disembark. We have turrets trained on your ship. We will fire at will.
I'm blaming you for that.
What do you guys do?
I vote that we hightail it out of Mos Eisley and go land somewhere else.
Well, Tatooine's a big enough planet and uninhabited enough.
I hear there's a small outpost called Tashi Station. Power converters and surplus there. Maybe sit down there, see if we can grab something or
This
something.
is like when the movie and says the title of the movie in the movie.
Yes, I'm not sure that Lane knows that Tashi Station is a place.
And I'm guessing you're not going to let me run a perception check on
I
that.
think we should land closer to where the meeting is supposed to be. That way we can make a quick getaway if we need to.
We probably don't want to leave.
That you were told that there are turrets trained on you. Whether or not that's true, you don't know, but you're certainly allowed to do whatever you'd like.
Can I run a perception check and see if there's actually turrets down there?
Sure. You just kind of look outside the ship.
Do I see turrets?
You do actually see, 2 turret-shaped objects from this height. You can see them sort of adorning the top of the spaceport. They're not really pointed at you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's not someone manning them, waiting to just be given the order to turn them on you and fire. But there are turrets. Rocky or Kiara, did you want to say something or anything like that?
Yeah, I think I'm going to grab the comm.
Okay.
Hey, don't mind us. We're just wanted to sit down here, trying to reconnect with some old friends. Heard they were in the area. Not going to be here long.
The reply comes, "Oh, well, then why did you tell me that you were hauling food for Trollmans?"
Spice. I'm very high on it.
Because my idiot friend there really needs to get off the drugs, and we're meeting up with a friend here who might be able to help him with that.
Okay,
I have a feeling this is a perception check. No, perception?
No, this
Cool.
is deception.
Deception.
But luckily for all of you, Kiara is well versed in deception.
Oh, thank.
So, Rocky, dice pool is going to be 2 green, 1 yellow, 2 purple,
2 green, 1 yellow, 2 purple,
and 1 red.
1
Sorry,
red.
I'm sorry. 1 purple, 1 red.
1 purple, 1 red.
Making dice pools in this game gets wonky.
All right, let's see how this goes.
A failure, but 2 advantages.
Hmm.
Okay. So. So you have gained 2 advantages, which means, again, that you get a sort of positive side effect here. So what I'm going to have you do, Rocky, is roll a boost die, which is that 6-sided pale blue die.
All right.
You are going to make an attempt here. It's sort of like this is going to be, and again, this is out of character. This is an attempt for you to sort of, at the last moment, recover and like fix your failure.
All right, so
Just
roll
straight
one.
up roll that blue die. Ah, a success. Okay.
Excellent.
So, so he doesn't seem to be initially buying it, but Kiara, you just sort of get back on the comm and reiterate and say, "Look, do you want to, you're like, do you want him to go into a seizure up here? He's already started his withdrawal. Just let us land and we'll be out of your way." And he just sort of gruffly just tells you to, next time, don't waste my time. I've got things to do, and says, "Docking Bay 4, watch yourself," and gives you permission to land.
All right, so I'm going to close the comm before I say anything else.
Yes, close the comm. Good work.
And I turn to the other two.
I look over with a very apologetic.
You guys are total idiots. This is gonna go well.
Dia, you take particular note of Kiara's sort of ability at deception, and the sort of command of the moment that she seemed to have, and how easy it seemed to be for her to, coerce and lie to that guy.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
All right. So you guys land. Do you have any other plans in the spaceport other than seeking out the transport to Danar's claim?
How much time do we have until we have to catch that transport?
You could spend like an hour or two doing some stuff before you would start to really be in any kind of danger. Before that you would really start to be getting in tight on you in time. But you don't have more than maybe a couple of hours, assuming nothing else goes bad.
Drinks, anyone? Drinks?
No.
We kind of need our wits about us, or whatever wits we have.
Plus, we don't want to be getting in any trouble before we actually get to our part of the mission.
And also, you don't know who you're going to run into at a place like this.
Yeah.
You two are
It's just
no
like
fun.
it's just like real life. You're down for drinks.
Fine, so do we go straight to the speeder?
Well, we can kind of meander through town.
We could check out and see if we see anyone who might also be heading to the meeting, just to kind of do a reconnaissance.
So wander around, scope the place out, see if we might recognize anyone that could pose a problem later.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I mean,
Okay.
especially since I have underworld friends and so on. Well, friends, somewhat. Anybody I recognize?
In the cantina?
Yeah.
Anyone you recognize? Let me take a look here. No one immediately pops out to you. You might have to do, the cantina is not the most well-lit place in the world. It's pretty densely packed even at this time of day. So you'd have to do some pretty thorough investigation, but at least a cursory glance around doesn't seem to show you much more other than a busy cantina with several blaster scars in the walls that have been accumulated over the years.
So, business as usual. Nothing weird. Yet.
Do I notice anyone in the cantina who seems a little out of place?
Define out of place.
Stormtroopery.
Very Imperial.
You do not see anyone wearing Imperial regalia, stormtrooper or otherwise.
Anything you're looking for, Captain?
Do I recognize anybody? Or better yet, does anyone recognize me?
The bartender does.
Oh!
He, when you walk in, he gives the same sort of cursory glance to the door that you assume that he is well practiced in doing and has been for years. And when he sees you, he, his eyes sort of rest upon you for a half a second. He gives you the sort of half curt nod of recognition and just goes back to sort of serving the patrons. But all of you notice that he definitely was like, that person, I know that person. I've seen that person before. That person has been in my cantina before.
I'm a little curious now, since someone said they hadn't been on Tatooine, yet recognizes this bartender who I'm assuming never gets off Tatooine. So I ignore the other two and go to the bar to grab a drink.
I follow you. Because I'm
I do
curious
too.
as to how this bartender knows me.
Yeah, I'm
And
getting curious
I'm-
too.
Do I know the bartender? Because I don't know that I do.
Plus, if these two talk themselves into trouble, I might as well stick around see if I can talk them out again.
So I throw a credit chip down, order an ale.
Okay. Well, the woman who is tending the bar at this time of the day just sort of deftly pulls your credit tab down. You see it slip under the bar. It disappears, and in its place is a mug with, well, what you presume is ale in it. And she doesn't really say anything to you. She seems like she's just sort of going through the paces of, servicing drinks.
Okay.
That's
Um,
okay. Can I flag down her attention at all? Wave.
You wave. So you wave at her, and she immediately reaches out and smacks your arm and says, "That's not polite."
And I quietly sulk and pick up my mug and decide to let smarter people do the talking.
I think I want to approach the bartender and try to strike up a conversation to see what the heck's going on.
Okay. Well, she, again, continues to sort of, grab empty drinks, seems to refill people who need to be refilled. She's just doing the basic work of tending the bar, but she doesn't seem occupied by any, conversations or other work. So it seems like if you wanted to talk to her, you could just walk up and do it.
All right. So I'll go up and talk to her. And order a drink as well.
Okay. What are you ordering?
I will order a Wyron's Reserve.
Wyron's Reserve. All right.
Someone's made of credits.
So you make the, you make the order, and immediately this broad smile comes across her face as she starts to put the drink together, and she says, "That's funny. No one's ordered that since the last time you were in here."
All right. So, Were you here before? Or weren't you?
The bartender overhears this question from Kiara, but she just looks at you, Dia. She doesn't look like she's going to give up the ghost. I don't know. We might have lost Brian and Nancy again.
Again?
Well, Brian started drinking that ale, and then the ionization blaster comes out again. Yeah. Or Nancy was just like, I don't know this person, and it's like when you just hang up the phone or whatever because you don't want to answer a question. She was like, I don't know, and she just rips the internet cord out of the wall. Maybe she did that. So, anyways, they'll be back in a moment, and you and I will fill awesome time that won't be recorded, but the 3 people, 5 people, I don't know how many people listening to this will hear us. So, I will point out of game that Nancy and I have had no discussion prior to this game about her character and whether or not her character has been or has not been to Tatooine. This is entirely something up and where Nancy decides to take it. And then I will play off of whatever she ends up doing.
You know, that is one of the things I really love. Because one of the things I've noticed about RP characters is often, even if you have a lot of their backstory formed, often it will undergo little extras here and there. Sometimes I deliberately won't write a character's full backstory because I'll see things in the game that make me go, ooh, I could use this. That would be a good backstory point.
Yeah, and it's fun, and it's a fun way if you're a DM and you're looking for DM. You can't possibly, as a DM, you'd love to have 3,000 pages of backstory and side adventures set up for every single character, but you just can't do that. So one of the easy things to do is just ask a PC an open-ended question, or present them with a situation about their character that they aren't aware of, and let them build off of it and see where it goes.
Yep. Yeah, I usually like to know a little bit about backstory, and then I just tell characters, it's fine if you don't have it all. It's fine if you don't tell me everything. I just need the highlights.
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of the best way to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, you looked in your DM and saw the note that I sent you, right?
I did.
You are obviously free to share that information or not share that information. You're free to ignore that information. You're free to act upon it, do whatever you want with it. But if they're going to find out about it, it has to come from you. I will not be, at least in this instance, I will not be informing them. Yes. So yes, Nancy and Brian have confirmed to us that they're again had a minor internet outage, so we expect them back in the next minute or two.
Sooner or later. Yep.
And just an awesome reminder too that this is just technically part 1 of the gaming podcast, because we have a whole nother set of players that we'll be recording the first session with probably later in January, or not the very early part of February. And Brian's back.
I am going to murder my modem. Nancy used to break her up some water. She'll be right back. Where we left off was Nancy said to the bartender, "I've never been here before."
Ah. So, all right. Well, we'll wait half a second for Nancy to come back before we continue.
Yeah.
It's okay. You didn't miss anything. I just explained the entire plot of Bloodline to Rocky and the people who are listening. No, I did not do that. I would not do that. That would be terrible.
Be horrible.
Surprise. All right, so she says that she's never been here before.
Yes. Dia says she's never been here before.
Never been here before, huh? All right, well, the bartender finishes her drink.
Whoops, hang on. I'll bring us back in and hit record.
Oh, yes.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, in.
All right. So, Dia, have you ever been there before?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay.
Are you sure?
Well, at that, the bartender sort of looks at your other compatriots and looks back at you, and gives a shrug. Slides your drink over to you and says, "Must have been someone else. Sorry. Getting a little on in years. Sometimes I get a little confused." And for the moment, she seems to turn away, kind of content not to say anything else.
When did you see her? When did you think you'd seen her before?
She turns back and said, what, must have been like, oh man, must have been about, probably about 6 months ago. Let me see. No, it wasn't even that long. You know what? God, I've been out in the heat too long. Well, honestly, it must have only been a couple of months. It must have been, just right. Honestly, just right after Jabba got killed. There was, it was, there were a lot of people coming into the planet after that, and I could have sworn you were in here. And I mean, you ordered that drink. I mean, it's not exactly. And she sort of gestures around the room at the sort of usual suspect clientele that she has. She's like not exactly pouring out a lot of those these days.
Well, I've been working for the rebellion since that time, and I think I would have remembered coming to Tatooine. And I don't remember coming to Tatooine, so if I was here, I'd like to know about it.
Oh,
I don't really think you want to say those sorts of things. Kiara's just kind of sitting in the corner, pouting a little.
Okay. Her eyes kind of perk up a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, working for the rebellion, are we?" Well, if I was mistaken and you weren't here before, might I ask what you're doing here now?
You can, but I wouldn't be able to answer.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't mean any offense by it. Just, trying to make conversation. I apologize. And again, she, as quickly as she seems interested in talking to you, she just as quickly kind of slips right back to just tending the bar, and almost as if you weren't there. It seems like that's something she does often, where she'll just be drifting in and out of conversations. She seems a very practiced and very, experienced barkeep, cantina keep, whatever it is.
I'm very confused now. This is 2 instances where people seem to think Dia's been here before.
There's something going on here with that. I don't know. Maybe she just looks just like somebody else who's been here before.
Do you have any siblings, Dia?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, it's a big galaxy. Wouldn't be surprised if there's someone out there who looks a lot like you.
I mean, this is a universe where clones exist.
Do we think there's anything we want to ask this bartender? Because she seems to have her finger on the pulse of what's going on out here.
Maybe I
You
feel
guys
like
have roughly been in the cantina
Yeah.
half an hour.
half an hour.
Yeah, I think I want to talk to her. I'm going to finally stop hiding in the shadows and sulking. And
Younger than me.
and I'm going to order an ale and ask, so what's been going on around here lately? I know the local people in charge have changed around a little bit.
You certainly said it, she says as she sort of, again, takes your credit, passes you now. A lot of interesting folk coming in lately. Some sort of, a lot of extra activity in the spaceport. They even got somebody actually manning the docking procedures. That hasn't happened in, God, got to be going on 20 years or so since the last time that happened.
Huh. Any idea who'd care that much? That's kind of weird.
I can't say. I spend most of my nights here just kind of tending to the cantina. So whatever's going on is not going on here. But I can tell you that there's people coming to Tatooine for something.
Anyone you think we might want to stay away from or talk to if we want to find out what's going on?
I mean, take your pick. Look around. I mean, is this the type of high society that you would want to keep? And again, she sort of mockingly gestures to this cantina full of wretched hive and scum, wretched hive of scum and villainy.
I'm getting the feeling she knows a little more than she's letting on as to what's going on around here, the undercurrent of what's going on. I want to try and charm her.
You're gonna try to charm her.
I look over at the bartender and I say, certainly someone like you has a pulse of what's going on here. You seem to know what's going on. I'm gonna need to roll for cool, aren't I?
Oh no! You're gonna have to roll for charm, not for cool.
Oh!
Way to go.
Charm would be your primary here, but you have cool. So what I'm gonna let you do here is you're gonna have 1 yellow die, and you are gonna have 4 purple dice. This is a rather difficult attempt. There, Rico Suave. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, I regret my decision so much. That's a fail and a threat.
She just bursts out laughing. I mean, she is just wailing from deep in the stomach, deep in the gut. That kind of really deep, hearty laughter.
Is this close to home, Brian?
I order another ale and sulk away.
And she just kind of pokes one of the people sitting a couple of stools away from you. It's a Devorian, and he just kind of gestures at you and is like, "Can you believe this guy?" And it's just, she's sort of rolling. You get the feeling she probably hasn't laughed that hard in quite a while. She seemed pretty tickled by it, but she's not buying it at all. The Devorian doesn't really look all that pleased that he was disturbed from his drink, but he just got to drink it.
I slide a bar stool over.
Okay.
Anybody else want to try getting anything out of her?
Nah. I have a feeling the next one of us who tries is probably going to get a drink thrown in our face.
Yeah. I think it might be best to just head out before we get ourselves in trouble.
I cash out and quietly sulk away.
Yep. Cash out. Make sure that Lane leaves in one piece and doesn't do anything else stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I feel like that was an opportunity left on the table. Where to now, Captain?
I think we should head off to Dinner's Claim.
Yeah.
To the speeder.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys leave the cantina. You start to head back towards the spaceport a bit, and you see a large group of people. You see a tram, kind of, well, not really a tram, I guess it's more of just like a large sort of transport repulsor craft.
Ugh, I hate public transport.
Sitting right outside of the spaceport. And you see a droid there with a data pad kind of standing next. It's a protocol type droid. Standing with a data pad next to the transport, next to the door of the transport. And, being a droid, it's just standing there is, perfectly still, not really doing anything.
Oh, we should probably show the droid our credentials, right?
I would assume so. Yeah.
Wait, do we show them the credentials now or when we get there? Do we just ask to get to our location? You know what? I've done enough damage today. Someone else do the talking.
Yep.
I'll approach the droid and say we are heading out to Danner's claim.
Okay. It says, splendid. Okay. I will need to see proof of your need to transport to Danor's claim. The settlement has been closed for some time now.
Interesting. So I'll pull up the credentials on our datapad and show it to the droid.
Okay, so you sort of hand over the datapad, and it immediately starts to sort of look at the info there and the codes. Splendid. Well, this seems to check out fine. Okay, you may board the transport. We will be leaving within the next standard hour.
Let's head on. We want to get good seats.
So,
All right.
Thank you. They're not showing TFA on the trip or anything.
They might.
so does someone with underworld knowledge want to do a quick scan around the other passengers?
Yeah, let's see what kinds of things my underworld knowledge might see.
I want to know if anyone recognizes me again.
So what do you want to do with your underworld knowledge there, Kiara?
So looking around this transport.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, I'm thinking. I'm kind of listening to everybody around me, seeing if I hear anything important about any of the criminal organizations, any names I might recognize, anything like that.
You mean on the transport with you?
Yeah, I presume there are lots of other beings chattering.
No, it's actually empty at the moment.
Oh wait, sorry.
It's just you guys.
That's
so you
weird.
can get all the good seats you want.
That's very, very weird.
The droid did say that the bus it wasn't really leaving for the next hour, but yeah, you guys seem to be the first
on
people.
The bus to see if it's rigged to explode.
You think everything is rigged to explode? What is wrong with you, Lane?
Because sooner or later something will be.
A broken clock is right twice per day.
Very true.
Depends how broken.
Where I grew up, public transportation blew up every half hour. So.
And where was that?
Narshada.
Oh.
I was gonna go out of character. Say where you live, the public transport is called the slut.
That's what you were saying.
Alright,
Yeah.
well, you guys are alone on this transport.
That is weird. Is there a pilot or someone like that?
There looks like there's another droid at the front that looks like it's integrated with the transport that this will be a sort of automated travel.
I want to take a look around and see what the transport is like, as curiosity as a pilot.
Okay. It's pretty roomy. It's 2 levels, but there's not it's the height of 2 levels, so out of character. Think like a double-decker bus, but there's not another floor. It's the height of a double-decker bus, though. And the seating they're 2 passenger seaters that form a bunch of rows. There's about 30 rows, and then there's about 8 feet of clearance, and then there's another 30 rows on either side. And the way you actually get up to those seats is there are actually ladders at the very back that you can climb up to, and there are very short little walkways. But there's not really another floor. It actually looks like you've just got people. You would have people stacked sitting on top of each other. It definitely looks like this is a utilitarian vehicle. It doesn't look like that this is any sort of luxury travel thing. It looks like this thing is built to carry the maximum number of people at this, at one time, with not a lot of consideration given to luxury or to amenity.
Okay.
And actually, let's see. I think it's going to be Kira. Knowledge. No. No. Nope, never mind. None of you. Never mind. Yeah. So, the minutes start to pass. Nobody else has gotten on yet. But there's still probably, 45 minutes before this thing leaves. So, would you guys like to just wait it out, or would you like to do anything else?
Well, then staring out the windows.
Okay. Staring out the windows, you just, it's the general hustle and bustle in Mos Eisley Spaceport. Nothing out of the ordinary there.
Did we remember to lock the freighter?
Thank God, now you're asking that. Yes, I did.
Good.
All right. Well, considering no one seems to want to do anything else of a particular necessity, over the next 40 minutes or so, a number of other passengers get on board. The Devorian, who actually the bartender, was speaking to for a moment, gets onto the transport. A couple of relatively sort of nondescript, as far as they go, humans of various genders and ethnicities, all looking like they're traveling together, but they're not wearing uniforms or any sort of designation that would designate them as a group. They just all happen to get on the bus together and they sit together. There are a number of Ithorians who get on the bus, 3 Ithorians, and a couple of Zabraks hop onto the bus. Not that Zabrak, don't worry.
Oh.
And then again, just a couple of more just random sort of people. A Duros, a couple of Duros, a couple more humans. Again, nobody gets on who's wearing anything out of the ordinary. Everyone seems to be wearing either flight suits, like they just ship, or just sort of basic clothing that you would see people wearing during space travel, just sort of more casual attire. Again, you don't see any insignias. You don't really see uniforms. You see some people carrying blasters, some other people carrying small knives and weapons, but nothing, again, out of the ordinary. And particularly since you're in Mos Eisley, you would assume people are walking around armed because it's Mos Eisley. Yeah. And it, the bus looks like it's just about ready to take, to take off. Anybody want to do anything? Okay, cool. So you guys are off. The trip from Mos Eisley out to Danor's Claim takes several hours. Probably actually almost a good half day.
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
When you arrive at the settlement, first of all, you're a bit surprised that it's not bigger, but it becomes immediately apparent why they would hold a meeting here. It doesn't look to be very much beyond a trading post or trading outpost. It's a very small little settlement. You can see, it looks like at one point there were probably about 7 or 8 buildings that housed some form of shop or other thing, though several of them are dilapidated. One looks like it is actually just been almost leveled or destroyed. There are still 3 buildings standing. One of them appears to be some sort of defunct mechanic shop, some sort of mechanic type shop. Another looks to be what was once some sort of not quite a cantina, but a general store of some kind. that may have had some sort of like eating establishment attached to it. And last but not least, there seems to be a decent-sized cantina, of which is the only one that has any activity, and basically everyone who's getting off the transport seem to be headed towards this cantina.
Well, let's go to the cantina. Follow everybody else.
I make my way towards the cantina as well.
Yep.
I follow Lane. Where he can get
Yep.
in trouble.
Because that's gone so well.
Keeping him out of trouble.
Excellent. You guys get to the front door of the cantina, and a similar-looking protocol droid, though you're pretty sure it's not exactly the same one, given the level of sort of like wear and tear on the metal finish, asks to see your code. Upon giving your codes to him, I assume that you give the codes to this droid without any problem.
Mm-hmm.
Informs you that you are to be seated at table number 5, and that table number 5 is third from the stage on the right, and that you should go in and sit, that someone will sort of serve refreshments, and that the proceeding will likely begin once sort of everyone is in this. And doesn't seem to have any more information for you.
Now seems like a good time to do an underworld check while we're making our way to the table.
Oh, yeah.
While you are doing that, if you guys want to check the chat, I've just put a link to. This is not 100% what the cantina looks like, but let's just say this is pretty roughly what the general schematic of this cantina is.
Okay.
So for those of you listening who can't see, it is not. The cantina is not situated in the same way that the cantina in Mos Eisley is, where the bar is like the center of the cantina, and there are tables and like booths sort of cascading around it and into the corners. In this case, the bar is along one of the sort of back wall, just next to the entrance, and there is a large open area with a number of tables, or a couple of them along the wall, and then sort of opposite the bar, on the opposite wall, there is a large stage. So it's kind of a more open setup rather than like a lot of nooks and crannies with like a bar in the middle and it bisecting the space. And when you guys walk in, and we'll get to the underworld check in just a moment. Actually, what is the purpose of this underworld check?
Oh, yeah. Well, considering we're sitting here with all sorts of other interesting people, I don't know, maybe I recognize someone.
Okay. Well, in this case, there's not really need to make a check, so I will describe the relative inhabitants of the cantina in just a moment. As I said, as you walk in, the canteen is pretty busy. There's a lot of people. You seem to notice that the tables seem to be in an orientation that they aren't quite usually in. They seem like they've actually been a little more evenly and specifically spaced. They all have numbers on them. So you all make your way to table 5, which is close to the stage. The stage is clear at the moment. Normally you would suspect that there would be like musical instruments up there for a band, or maybe some other props or apparatus if there was dancing or some other sort of entertainment going on. But at the moment, the stage space is clear, save for what looks like a small table, but there's nothing on the table. And you guys sit down, and this is what you see at the surrounding tables at the moment. Though it does not appear that everyone in the cantina is here for whatever meeting. It seems like most people are. This is what you see, and if any of you want to take notes, now would be a good time. You see one table that has 3 Duros sitting at it. One of the tables furthest away from the stage has, and we'll say that that's table number 9, has a group of 3 Duros at it. Table number 8 has a only 2 people at it, and actually only one of them is people. It has an R2 droid who has sort of reddish accenting, and a Sullustan are sitting at table number 8. And they seem to be sort of talking to each other. So the droid is not like it doesn't look like it works in the cantina or something. They seem to be engaged as if they are actually together. Table number 7. There are 4 individuals sitting there quietly, sipping on drinks, with very dark blue skin and red eyes.
Ooh.
Yay!
They don't seem to really be talking to each other all that much, and they definitely don't seem to be talking to anybody else. But they're sort of just, observing the room. Table number 6 is currently empty. Table number 5 is you. Table number 4, also empty. That is the table that actually is closest to you by sort of proximity. Table number 3, there are 3 humans sitting there, as well as 2 individuals with very pale green scaly skin and claw-like hands. The rest of their sort of visages are hidden under hoods. So you can sort of see their faces, but you can't see what their hair looks like. You can't really see the rest of them. Table number 2 has table number 2 has 4 people at it, and they seem to be having the most agitated, active discussion of anybody else. Table number 2 is very close to the stage. They seem to be arguing with each other about something, and it's a little odd because of all the tables, they're the only one that's really engaging in conversation and seems to be trying to figure something out, and they seem like they're getting angry at something. You can't really hear what they're saying, but you can tell via the facial expressions, and they're kind of pointing at each other, not aggressive, but just sort of pointing with defiance, at the table and things like that. That there's some sort of argument going on, and they're all humans. In fact, that group of humans that you saw get on the transport with you, it looks like that some of those people are this group.
And table 1.
That's table number 2. At table number 1, there are 2 Twi'leks sitting at table number 1. A man and a male Twi'lek and a female Twi'lek. Both of them are dressed in just sort of regular attire, but both of them seem to have on these very long dusters, these kind of long coats that are black with these sort of weird brownish accents and just random insignia. They don't immediately jump out to you as corresponding to any known any group or anything. It's not like the Imperial symbol or the Rebel symbol or nothing like that. And they're sitting there quietly drinking, and they seem to be, completely at ease. They seem to be the calmest, happiest people in the world at the moment. So Rocky, or Kiara, you wanted to make a sort of underworld check.
Yeah.
You are almost immediately certain that the individuals at table number 3 are members of the Black Sun crime syndicate.
Ooh.
And that the 2 individuals in hoods are Falleen.
Oh.
Ooh, that could be complicated. So, I'm going to I'm going to say very quietly to Lane and Dia, keep an eye on number 3 over there. I think I know who they might be. They may be able to influence things. Can I assume that I would probably know what Faline are capable of if I've been around the galaxy a little bit? If I
Yes.
know about the weird hormonal or whatever thing they do, pheromonal. Is that it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Can I hear what the folks at table 2 are arguing about from where I am?
No, not really. It's sort of, there's a regular dinner conversation in this cantina that you kind of can't make out. The specifics of the argument, though, again, you're pretty sure that like they all know each other and they're not like about to get. You're pretty sure whatever they're angry about, they're not angry at each other about it, and they're not like about to like start fighting with each other and punching each other. Yes. There are 2 women and 2 men at that table.
Got it. 2 women and 2 men.
If you want to take that detail in notes.
Anything that catches your attention, Captain?
Not off the bat.
Okay. One of you happens to check your chrono and sees that the designated meeting time is more or less like imminent. And you guys look around, and I would like each one of you to make a perception roll against 1 purple die. So whatever your perception abilities are, you're going to create a dice pool of that roll. So in the case of Nancy, you have that as a career skill, but no extra ranks. So put 3 green dice into your 3 green dice and 1 purple die into your pool. Kiara, Rocky, you're gonna put 1 green, 1 yellow, and a purple. Sorry, not 1 green, 1 yellow. That's you, Brian. Rocky, you're gonna do 2 green and a yellow.
And a purple?
Yep, all of you. The opposed check in this case is a single purple die.
Okay.
All right.
Roll away.
Yes, roll away.
Oh, great.
So Brian fails. Wait, Brian rolled twice. Oh, there we go. No, I was looking at the wrong thing. So Brian succeeds with threat, and both Rocky and Nancy succeed with some advantages.
Okay. Apparently I just piss people off by looking at them.
So you, Brian, you're trying to get a better sense of the lay of the room here, and you sort of you kind of like lean over and try to get as close to table 3 as you can, and you end up sort of like brushing one of the cloaks of the 2 Falleen, and it turns around at you and stares at you, and you just feel like ice in your veins, and the Falleen looks at you. You can like feel it sort of like taking stock of you, and it turns back to its compatriots and makes some sort of weird hand gesture, and nothing happens. Nobody gets up, nobody does anything, but then it turns back around. But you definitely like earned their attention.
Nice job.
There you go.
And I see Nancy having like a heart attack over there.
Just laughing.
However, the other 2, Dia and Kiara, you 2 are far more A, perceptive, and B, effective in your perceptions.
Subtle.
So the 2 of you look around, and like you haven't even looked around the entire room before 2 things are abundantly clear. 1, there are no huts in this room.
Huh.
2, it does not appear like the Empire has been invited to the meeting.
Oh.
Oh, there's no way they're not here. They might just not be here under their own name.
Well, there's nobody in the room wearing Imperial insignias. Which again, your first thought, Kira, as you just said, is that you assume that they are here in some capacity somewhere. But you also again note to yourself that there are like falling of black suns sitting in plain sight. So whatever setup the huts have for this meeting, they clearly have. The black sun feels safe enough to sit here in plain sight. So it seems odd to you that the Empire wouldn't be sitting here as well. Though, again, you do cling to the idea that they're probably here.
Oh, yeah.
They have a presence here. It's
They're
just
here.
not-
Whether they paid someone to be here for them, or whether they're in disguise as someone else, they're here. They have to be. They wouldn't miss something like this.
Unless this is a trap set up by them.
Well, that's also possible.
You had to say it, didn't you?
I have a bad feeling about this.
Okay. So the male Twi'lek rises from the table, or rises from his chair. He makes some sort of gesture to the other Twi'lek, and he goes and stands up onto the stage. The other Twi'lek, you hadn't really noticed it as it was obscured by both the table and sort of the other people sitting around, sort of takes a small box from underneath the table and joins her compatriot on stage and places this box on that little previously empty table and opens it, and there looks to be a fairly decent-sized holo projector in this box. So you could imagine a sort of handheld holo projector that you would use to sort of transmit messages. This is one that's probably about 5 times that size. It's pretty, it's large enough that it's carried around in this, box. The box is like double the size of a shoebox, for reference. Or like about the same size as a chest that you would like hold a lightsaber in if you were Maz Kanata or Luke Skywalker or Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's not that box. I'm just size reference here. Size reference. And the two Twi'leks don't seem to be waiting for anything. They don't seem to be bothered by the fact that there are 2 empty tables in the room. They immediately start setting up. The holo bursts to life, and you see the image of a hut. And the hut immediately sort of starts bursting into a speech in Huttese, which none of you speak.
That's unfortunate.
But almost as soon as the hut starts speaking, the Twi'lek on the stage starts to translate the speech.
Oh, good.
And he's sort of translating it on behalf of this hut. So he says that his honored greatness Zertok the Hutt, Zertok, Zertok the Hutt, welcomes you to this fine opportunity and is pleased that so many of you have made the prudent and fruitful decision to join us today. He gestures very briefly to the 2 empty tables, as again the hologram of the hut. It just sort of continues to speak. There doesn't really seem to be a lot of interruption in the speech, though. Again, none of you are really familiar enough with Huttese to understand the syntax and know like if the hut's actually taking breaths and breaking, or if this is just some sort of like image, and like whatever the Twi'lek is saying is like a pre-prepared speech anyway, because the Twi'lek doesn't seem to be following along too close. And he gestures to the empty tables and says, I see that not all of our guests have chosen to show us the honor and respect deserving of one as great as Zertok, but alas, it's a big galaxy. And he says, it looks like he's really kind of start to get into the speech when one of the two women at table number 2, these were the people who were fighting, bursts out of her seat and says, "We demand the return of our stolen property.
Ooh.
The Karthak group has a right, and you will return what is ours to us now." Karthak group is spelled Karttak. Okay. Let me double check that spelling. Karthakk. Karthak group.
Got it.
And she just like busts out of her seat. She's kind of an older woman. She's not like feeble by any means, but you could just she's her face is a little weathered. She has shorter hair, but it is almost all gray. There's still bits of color to it, but it is predominantly gray. But she still seems sort of spry and energetic. And the Twi'lek. Would any of you like to do anything at this point? Or are you just going to observe? Just observing?
Well, I'm wondering if any of us knows has heard of the Karthak group.
Yeah, is this something I might have heard of before?
Sure. Let's have you guys roll. Well, let's see.
Because this has gone so well for me today.
Let's see. Kiara and Dia can make a 2D green dice versus 2 purple dice roll.
So 2 green, 2 purple.
Yep.
2 green, 2 purple.
Lane, you cannot.
Okay.
Yes.
Probably for the best.
Oh no.
Yes.
Somehow I don't think that went quite well.
Oh boy, that's just okay.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So Dia, you recall that the Karthak group was a prominent sort of mercantile group of some sort. Maybe not entirely maybe not entirely legitimate, but they weren't like a crime syndicate by any means. But they were kind of a growing mercantile group that actually has been around since honestly since the Clone Wars. So they've been around a while. That they never achieved, and it may actually have been because they sort of rose to prominence during the Clone Wars and around that tumultuous time. They never became a group on the level of like Black Sun or the Hutts. And again, they were definitely not like a completely corrupt or completely criminal organization, but they certainly were involved in a wide range of operations, and you have to imagine that, things like smuggling, things like, dealing in illicit goods, stuff like that was part of the deal there. So that's what you know about them.
Okay.
And you know that once the Empire rose to power, that they
sort of took a step back, probably because of their connections to legitimate business, that they were squeezed by the Empire in ways that both Black Sun and like the Hutts and other groups like that were able to avoid. So that's all you know about them. And so this lady's wailing and sort of screaming at this Twi'lek, and she's sort of screaming at the Hollow, but obviously the Hollow is just a Hollow, so the image of Zertok doesn't really take any care to what she's doing. And the Twi'lek stops for a moment, and he looks very perturbed, as if his sort of grand and glorious, very meticulously planned meeting has been upended by this woman and her people. And he gestures to the Twi'lek woman, who taps a data pad on that she's now holding, and you all hear beeping coming from under your desk, your table. And the male Twi'lek says, "We understand the palpable desire from those among you to engage in the transaction as hastily as possible. However, we must ask that everyone remain calm, that everyone keep their wits about them, and that most importantly, that we do not allow this peaceful meeting of well-meaning negotiators descend into madness." And one of you looks under the table and sees that all of the tables have been rigged with several thermal detonators.
I'm good. I'll behave.
And it's
Brian needs a new purifier.
that the Twi'lek is going to continue, and then he stops and he says, "First of all, I would like to say that Karthak Group has no such claim to this property. It is property of the Hutt clan. It is being offered for sale through legitimate means. The Hutt clan has no need nor desire to trade in illicit goods. Any accusations to otherwise are false, preposterous, and frankly insulting to someone such as my Lord Zertok. But we are going to push up the proceedings. Shall we start the bidding at 100,000 credits?"
Oh.
Ooh.
And immediately, the hand of the Sullustan shoots up in the air.
The Sullustan?
Also immediately, the individuals at table number 7 simply put down their drinks, make a sort of gesture up to the stage that seems like a universal gesture for like no or no thank you. They get up and they walk out of the cantina.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we're clearly outbid before we started.
Yeah.
Are we going to have to steal this from the winning bidders or something?
So before the auction sort of continues here, and by the way, I'm looking out of game. I'm looking at the clock. Don't worry, we are nearing a point where we will sort of be able to cut ourselves off for the session. I will give you guys roughly 90 seconds to sort of talk amongst yourselves what you think your next step's going to be here, and then I will start us back in a second.
Yeah, we can't afford this.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
It's way over our allotted credits, and I don't think we can negotiate an extra 70,000.
So we're going to steal it.
We find out who wins and we steal it from them.
I mean, if the rebellion isn't good to steal stuff, then I don't know what is. It's what we do.
Look, they said we have to get it, and I have a feeling it'll be easier to seek forgiveness for stealing something than it would be to ask permission for more money.
Besides, we will have the meeting be peaceful, and then we'll follow the winners out and
drag them into a back alley, beat them up. The usual.
Yeah. Maybe Lane can charm them.
It'll work one of these days. Okay, so we stay here at our thermal detonator strap table.
Yeah.
See who wins.
Mhm.
Follow them out
Mm.
and beat them up.
We've got
Pretty
weapons.
much.
We've got weapons, don't we?
Now, are we going to regret the thing that said no violence?
We're not having violence in the meeting.
So violence out of the meeting's okay.
They didn't. They didn't say that.
Okay.
They,
Okay.
They didn't say that we could not beat someone up after the meeting.
I think we have a plan then.
We have something.
We got something.
If your rolls go as well as they have been, it should be fun.
So I calmly sit back and watch the proceedings.
All right. So what have you guys decided?
That we're going to observe the proceedings because there's no way we can afford 100,000 credits.
Okay.
Find out who wins.
Okay.
And
Follow them.
them
And
for
then,
some reason.
And then steal the stuff from them.
Yep.
That's your plan. Okay. So that's fine. I'm getting it down. So the auction continues on. The Sullustan again had the bid at 100,000. One of the members of Black Sun raises it to 150. The Duros move it up to 175. The Sullustan comes back in at 200. The members of Carthak group again, they are arguing with each other again. They don't seem to. A couple of times it looks like they're about to bid, but they don't, and they're arguing with each other again. So the Sullustan has it at 200,000. The Black Sun members bid up to 250. The Sullustan goes to 300. The Black Sun members stare over at the Sullustan. They have sort of marked him as the rival in the auction. And one of the Black Sun members is about to sort of, it looks like, raise it again when a second member of the Carthax group's team jumps up from the table. And you hear, actually, the others being like, no, Trey, don't. But before they can stop her, she jumps up from the table and points at the stage and says...
We would rather die than hand over our property to Hut scum.
And as soon as she says that, she draws her blaster and fires at the hollow, destroying the image of Zertok the Hutt. And with that, the entire cantina erupts into a brawl. Female Twi'lek stands on the stage with her finger about 5 inches away from the datapad that controls the thermal detonator.
Guys, we need to get away from these tables.
Yeah.
That, my friends, is where we are ending episode 1.
Of course it is.
Have to end on a cliffhanger.
Oh, that was great.
And the screen wipes 2 stars and credits. To be continued.
Hopefully.
A little later this month with our second group.
Yay.
Yay.
Who, I'm not going to tell you exactly how all that's going. The second group is not in this room.
Oh.
Ah.
Well, I, for one, am excited to hear what happens with the second group. But
Yes. I will also tease that. So first, I will also tease that the second episode is going to be called "This Ain't No Place for No Hero."
Nice.
So episode 2 will be called "This Ain't No Place for No Hero," and we'll have a crawl for it and all that stuff. We're gonna, there'll be crawls and stuff for this, sort of in the way, sort of in the way that like Clone Wars had. Would have a bunch of crawls and have like lots of, intro text things or intro synopses things.
the little fortune cookies they had.
Yes. And also, you guys can listen to the other team, and the other team can listen to you guys. I don't really mind. There obviously will be some stuff that maybe you'll want to pretend not to know in character. But
I mean, I have to edit these, so I kind of have to.
Yeah. No, it's fine. There'll be a couple of things that like you'll probably just want to modulate your character's knowledge of, so that it doesn't destroy all the artifice that I'm building here. But yes. So you guys you're totally doing fine. Your plan's working perfectly.
We're only moments away from getting blown to Kingdom Come. Excellent.
Woohoo.
So
Well, you did say you're just going to sit there and watch. Mission
Well.
accomplished. Your plan
Hey,
went.
we didn't start the violence.
Right. It
but
was always
we're all
there.
going to get blown up as a result. Well,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and wrap it up there. Before we go, where can we find you all online? Starting with Rocky.
I am Lady Darthkitis on Twitter.
Tom?
Darth and Turnus on Twitter, and all of the Del Rey Star Wars social media, from Tumblr to Facebook to Twitter to Instagram to whatever else we have.
Nancy?
Nancy Pants. That's Nanci.
Pants. I'm Lane Winry on Twitter, LaneWinree, and like we said, we'll be back soon with another installment. Had a blast. Stay tuned for next time. We'll be back.
Bye.
And we're out.
Yay.
Are we still live?
Yes, we are.
Oh, sweet. Are
Haha.
people still listening?
There are 2 people who hung out the whole time.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Yay.
guess. And Twitter will confirm that is Coop from 1138 and Sarah Dempster.
Good guesses.
Those are my guesses.
Coop is one. I think Travis may have been the other. He was very excited for it.
Nice.
But I saw he tweeted that he was going to a movie.
Oh, okay. So he chose a movie over us.
Yes.
He can always listen later.
He can, yes. Very cool. That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. So you guys count all the EU things that are in there and all the normal canon things that are in there? Not normal.
Actually disregard
Oh, yeah.
things.
I'm excited.
You guys got Danar's claim from Kenobi?
Yeah.
You guys didn't ask why Danar's claim is not, like, occupied with people.
I'm curious about that.
Let's see. You got
We ran into some Chiss and Doros and
Black Sun.
Pauline.
You got what's her name from the Cantina?
Akmina?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't get it.
either.
Yep, that was her.
Man,
That makes it even better that she laughed at me.
Yeah, that was her.
if I had known that, I would have told her thank you for being a friend.
And the Karthak group, and specifically the woman at the end who jumped up and drew her blaster, is Trey Baratheon, who was a character in Melissa Scott's Mercy Mission short story from the Rise of the Empire thing we did, that young Hera story.
Yeah.
She's the agitated medic in that story.
Oh.
So she survived.
See, now I have to go back and listen to this episode and catch all the stuff I missed.
Yeah. And that was a cameo by Liz as Trey. I was like, do you want to yell Hut Scum into the microphone?
Nice.
Well done, Liz.
So yeah, that was good. Also, Rocky, be sure to hold on to that little nugget of info that I sent you. And
Oh, I will. That's going to come in handy at the
Oh no.
Now I'm scared.
I know. Secrets.
and then last thing for you guys is the characters that I gave you are definitely, like, the next time we do this, you're not going to use those sheets, but I'm going to transpose those onto sort of a little more elegant and little more user-friendly sheets. But if there's anything you see on those sheets about your characters, your equipment, your skills, just generally about your character, don't worry about the species stuff. That I just, like, pulled these characters, like, that part's,
Yeah.
we know who everyone is. If there's anything about that stuff that you're like, you know what, I really like my character, I really actually want them to be able to do this and not this, just let me know in a short email and I will make the appropriate, like, modifications.
Very cool.
to meet whatever you know, to meet whatever you want it to be. If you're like, you know what, my character looks a little too much like all they would do is punch things. I'd actually think I want the character to be able to, do this instead.
I will say I'm liking that my character is being set up to be the recurring butt monkey.
Listen,
that makes me happy.
Setting up. You rolled terribly.
I rolled terribly today. Very cool. Well, I think I'm gonna let Nancy go to sleep because she looks exhausted.
Yeah, I think I actually need to do the same because I have to get up tomorrow and run a D&D game. So, duty.
The life of a DM.
Yep.
Hey, I have to go RP with my WoW guild, so
Perfect.
Perfect.
how much nerdery can we fit in at once?
Go read a Star Wars book.
I'll see if I
Yeah.
can read an RP at the same time. Probably not.
Do it. Go read all the Star Wars.
Yes.
All right. Well, signing off. That was fun. Cannot wait for the next time.
All right. I will see you guys later.
So long.
Awesomeness.
Bye.
Good night.